Good evening and happy autumn. Welcome to FCTV's September 2021 edition of Poetic License and Open Mic Opportunity. My name is Donna Scheer. Our suggested theme tonight is School Days with a Z. Sincere thanks to Andrew Richards, our knight in shining video. Thank you, FCTV, for your superior programming, such as The Conversation, a program about equity and racial justice hosted by Reverend Will Mevin and Ajale Scott Price. Scott McGann is our health agent for Falmouth. He updates us every Friday about COVID-19. And Falmouth in Focus is filled with local people and happenings in our town. But the big news is the annual FCTV Rotary Auction, which is coming up Sunday, October 3rd, 4 to 8 p.m. Online browsing and bidding can be found right now through auction day at fctv.org. Just a taste of items online for bid. A New England Patriots helmet autographed by Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Teddy Bruschi, and many others. And then for rock and rollers, there's a Rolling Stones package of memorabilia commemorating their 50th anniversary. It includes the album Let It Bleed, signed on the cover by all 5 Rolling Stones, including the late Charlie Watts. You can also find many items and gift cards from local artists, restaurants, businesses, and new items will be offered throughout the bidding period. So help support 2 worthy Falmouth nonprofits, FCTV and the Falmouth Rotary, who also subsidize many deserving causes through our funding. Lisa Cantor, congratulations for becoming our newest Poetic License member. And you too, if you want to join the FCTV family, you can get a membership. Single membership is still only $30 annually. So all you have to do is go to fctv.org and sign up. And now, performers, curtain up. When I read your name, unmute your mic. Please repeat your name. Everyone has a 4-minute time slot. Andrew and I keep track of the time. And I'm going to start us off. Again, my name is Donna Scheer. I have had 2 teaching careers. This poem is about the first one, straight out of college in a junior high classroom. It's called What They Don't Teach You. Last hired, I drew the short straw, the bad boy class. Last period, 7th grade English. At the interview, the principal sits rigid behind the great wall of his desk. You are not going to use that open classroom nonsense, are you? With an as-if shrug, I chuckle, seem to abandon all I had spent the last 4 years learning. It's not an inner city school, but collars bluer than blue, where parents demand why the hell kids gotta learn to rip sentences apart and read that gall-damn poetry. No matter how tall I sit, I am still only a dozen years older than their kids. Authority teeters uneasily on my head. First day of school, following the leader, 6'3" be chained Gerard, they amble into the classroom smelling of cigarettes and adolescence, their jaws in full mastication. Disrespectful enough. Worse still, they ignore me or scowl and grumble anytime I try to march them into the curriculum. Mikey, with the angel face, can barely read at a first grade level. For years, he's been passed along grade to grade. Brandon, of the mysterious bruises, startles when I pass by him. Ronnie, who works most nights in the family laundromat, sits in the back row and falls asleep. I let him. And although the desks stay in tidy rows and the principal patrols the halls peering through the square of glass, I go undercover, rummage around for sly ways to engage them. Because they love to talk money, I invent a game. If I had $1 million, nouns become motorcycle, Mustang, sneakers. Adjectives are slammin', cherry red, two-tone. Pop song lyrics transform into poetry with Langston Hughes on the distant horizon. I even send comic books as homework so we can argue setting, plot, and character. We wedge our way between the known and the ordained. But these are hardcore rebels. One afternoon, Gerard spends all but 10 minutes of class in the bathroom. I stand, hands on hip, steam cartooning out my ears as I tongue lash him. If I look down from the ceiling, I'd see a harpy. One in the long line of educators, mothers, and grandmothers, voices and wooden spoons raised, berating them into behaving. In a boneless slouch, his lids half closed, Gerard drawls, "Miss Carson, you couldn't scare a kitten." I can't help it. I begin to laugh. The whole class doubles over. Tired of being the enemy, our white flags shake with laughter. True story, but the names were changed to protect the guilty. All right. Well, good evening, Jackson Gilman. You, my friend, are our number one.
Okay. Well, speaking of teaching, there are certain teachers who can have on their students a profound and lifelong impact. And such was Norwood Hinkle, who taught music at the Putney School for 33 years. And during that time, he helped cultivate a love of music in thousands of students, myself included. And he had a very highly refined ear for classical music. Two of them actually for better stereo reception. He had only one eye, however. The other was glass. He had a nose, of course, but it really resembled more of a raptor's beak. And he had one strip of hair underneath his bald pate that was shock white. So he very much resembled a real severe, bald eagle. And one did not want to fall prey to Norwood's eagle eye when he scanned his classroom, his orchestra, or his chorus to zero in on the one hapless mole who happened to be out of line or out of tune. He was loved by some. He was terrifying to all. Now, I remember like it was yesterday, even though it was about 50 years of yesterdays ago, being in his music appreciation class, in his musical chamber of delight and torture under the watchful pierce of Norwood's eye. Now, having only one eye precludes having any depth perception, and indeed, Norwood could not perceive the depth to which I would consistently fall into another state of consciousness during his class, or should I say unconsciousness. Because while I'm sitting there listening to these classical music selections, supposed to be analyzing them, I had perfected this seated posture, which passed for the intent listening of a musical connoisseur. And Norwood never caught on to my disguised slumber. But one time he caught me dozing. I'll tell you about that at the end. But as I said, his ears were fine-tuned. He wanted ours to be as well. So he played us the classics. And he was teaching us music theory. He wanted us to break down these wonderful masterpieces and first of all recognize the tonic key and whatever keys that modulated into, and then also recognize the exposition and the bridges, and if there's a theme or variations on a theme, to make note of those, and if there's a deceptive cadence. Rarely did I ever hear a final cadence, because invariably I would end up dancing in the land of Nod, asleep, a rich, cultured sleep, an utterly delightful sleep. So I regret not fully grasping all those finer points of musical theory, but I was well steeped in Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, all the masters. I viscerally soaked them in. And osmotically, I just, more often than not, I was completely submerged by them. Awake, I loved that music. Asleep, I don't know that I loved it any less. So although my grades might not reflect this, I believe that Norwood was successful in turning out this quasi-educated, albeit trans-inclined graduate of music appreciation. Oh, and how I loved those lusciously sonorous catnaps. Oh. Now, the one time he caught me dozing, it was during madrigals. He was researching, he was rehearsing with the sopranos for a long dulcet stretch, during which time I, at the opposite end of the bass section, had drifted off into bird-like dreamland. And while I was in sweet repose, this is what I was told happened next. That Norwood spotted me, and he put his finger up to his lips. And the bevy of songbirds stilled as they might before an oncoming thunderstorm. And then he picked up his water glass, and he silently started stalking his oblivious sitting, or should I say sleeping duck. And he started waltzing. The Kapellmeister was about to baptize me in his version of Handel's water music. He hummed a phrase, and then the heavens opened. And I awoke to a cacophonous glee club. Never before or since have I been such an effortless class clown. Now, to Norwood Hinkle, I honestly give him my most sincere thanks for the awakenings, musical and otherwise.
Oh, Gilman, thank you so much. I love that story. You use such beautiful language to end up telling something that's pretty hysterical. So, Norwood Hinkle. Ah, yes.
It's 100% true story, and definitely fits the school days theme.
That was perfect. Thank you so much. All right. Lynn Vitti, are you ready? Don't forget to unmute.
I am. I'm ready. Thank you.
All
Thank you,
right.
Jackson. Thank you for jumping ahead. um, I have two poems. One of them I wrote some years ago as an assignment for a poetry workshop at Boston Public Library with the late Sam Cornish, who was poet laureate for, I think, 2 terms. Sam, like myself, hails from Baltimore, so we had a common bond. I'm Lynn Vitti. I forgot to say that. This is called, so Sam said, write a poem about your first day of school. And I thought, wait, can I even remember that? Well, I could. First day at PS 236. Through the humid September morning, into the old brick school our long line moved, leaving the mothers behind. They waved from the plot of trampled grass. Heavy doors banged shut behind us. Kindergarten. I knew it was German for child garden, but there was no garden, only bricks and mortar, asphalt, and that sorry patch of lawn. From the dark hallway, floors speckled brown and black, I peered into my classroom, saw high windows letting in light, low, long tables, child-sized chairs, easels with trays stocked with paint jars and brushes, clean sheets of newsprint beckoning each child to work. At one end of the room, a loo with low commode and tiny sink. Opposite, a cloakroom, rows of hooks and cubby holes below. Our teacher wore a dress of blue and white checks. A wide belt with a gold buckle cinched her waist. Her short brown hair was swept up at the sides. 2 rows of curls were pinned back with barrettes. She smiled and spoke in a girlish voice. Ladies came to help her pour juice into paper cups, hand out crackers and brown paper towels. Everyone seemed to know where to go, what to do, and so cheerfully. At recess, they climbed the high monkey bars. I watched them till the bell called us back. Children dipped their fingers into jars of paint, smeared the jelly colors on shiny paper. But I would not soil my hands. I sat wishing for a picture book, watching a clock whose hands told me nothing. I was not a big fan of kindergarten for a while. Oh, Mrs. Kinnersley, if you're still alive, here's to you. The second one is about high school. And I don't know if I've read this before. I don't think I have with this group, but it's called Girl with Eyelash Curler. The teacher left the room for 5 minutes, and with algebra book splayed open on the desk, you reached into your purse and withdrew a Maybelline eyelash curler, a medieval cage contraption in miniature. You artfully, dramatically manipulated your already curly lashes. With each squeeze of that instrument of beauty torture, you opened your other eye wide, peering over at those near you. Who could resist that fake look of surprise you had mastered? Who didn't envy those large anterior chambers, blue eyes expressive, half sad, half joyful? First, 2 or 3 of us near you noticed. Then, in concentric circles, your fandom grew till we were all barely able to hold in the laughter. Some of it slipped out in giggles. Then, just when we were about to erupt into rows of laughter, Sister Johannes walked into the room. All was silent Heads down, we pretended to solve the equation. You quickly slipped the eyelash curler into your handbag. You kept a look of absolute seriousness on your face, seriousness belied by the devilish gleam in your eye. Girl, you were so damn funny. Thank you.
Yay. Oh boy, the kindergarten room really brought me back, especially the cloakroom and the juice in the paper cups and the clock hands that told you nothing.
Couldn't tell time. Did not tell time. And I did not know big hand, little, or any of that.
Yeah, yeah. My grandma tried to teach me before kindergarten. It was hopeless. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Nancy Jericho, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. My name is Nancy Jericho, and I'm going to read a poem I wrote about the change of seasons. It's called Endless Summer. Let morning glory trumpets blare and crickets never cease. Let tomato shoulders blush and bean vines reach the roof. No rain of acorns, no flocks of juncos landing here. Chipmunks may not hibernate, warblers may not leave. One scarlet maple is allowed, one gilded yellow beech. Some sweet gum trees in multi-hues can punctuate the green. Clouds, if they must chalk the blue, will tower into thunderheads or tumble playful puppy-like in piles across the sky. Water shall not change to ice or sleet or snow or hail, and our dear sun, light of life, shall halt its southward course.
That was gorgeous, Nancy.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful images. Inlet Summer. Thank you. Candy Johansen. Nice to see you in person. Haha.
I know, I miss you. We need to get together again sometime. Yeah, I missed last month because I was at a writer's retreat, so I'm glad to be back. I have written a couple of, one's kind of like a poem about when I was in high school, and the other one is about when I first started teaching. So I'll start with the one from when I was in high school. It's called The Popular Girls. The popular girls travel in herds, laughing and whispering, pointing and giggling. I am a theater geek, a history geek, an English geek. I am also sort of a jock. I run track, 50-yard dash, 800 relay. I have friends in all the social strata that high school can boast, including the popular girls, but I am not a popular girl. And I like that fact. I hung out with everybody, but I was not a snob. Now, this is when I first started teaching. This is what really got to me. And I'm going to try to read this without crying at the end. It's called The Substitute. I was supposed to be a short-term substitute. Short-term. They tricked me. They knew I would fall in love with their sweet faces, with their hugs, with the way they laughed, with the way they backed up, plopping down onto my lap at circle time. How could I not fall in love? Their noses ran. They smeared snot across their faces, on their arms, on their legs, on my legs. Some of them hooted and flapped their hands. Some of them threw blocks and scissors and chairs across the room. Some of them wore diapers. Some of them needed help to eat. How could I not fall in love with the kindness of the peers toward their classmates, watching the gentle acceptance as they played together, watching the encouragement to stand, to walk, to run and play? How could I not fall in love when a small hand wiggled its way into each of my own, and I looked down at two beatific smiling faces, one peer, one special needs, best friends, each claiming their individual parts of me, as we walked out to the playground where I watched them play together with no prejudice, just friends, best friends. They tricked me. They knew I would fall in love. Substitute? I stayed.
Yay! I like that happy ending.
Yeah, that really, and just as a point in fact, I am still friends with both peers and special needs kids that I had, and they're in their 20s, they're grown and on their own, and I still consider them friends, and their parents are friends too. So it was the right choice. I fell in love totally.
Absolutely. I like the snotty part.
Oh God.
Very
You've
real.
been there, Donna. You've been there. Yep.
Thanks, Candy.
You're welcome.
Sue Beth Carlson. You're up, my friend.
Hi there. Wow, all these have been, I mean, they always are, but just one after another, so amazing. I have had some sad news recently, so mine's a little different. I was talking to a friend about our 30-somethings who've decided not to get vaccinated and how it's a reflection of the larger dynamic in the world, fear, danger, confusion, and nothing seems to make sense. After going to school, another friend's young niece got COVID and just died. School is about learning, and many have been in a daze from the way our learning comes to us lately. What these times have taught me is that thriving requires going with the flow, adapting to each situation of the moment, with a balance between preserving life and truly living, and that we each need to step up and take action. Each with our own talents and to do what we can in this world. And the poem that I'm going to read, well, it kind of found its way into a song, and it could have been written for the Mamas and the Papas theme instead, because my parents' names both found their way into it before it found its way into the song. My dad's name is Art, and my mom's name was Ruth. And if you don't know the meaning of the word Ruth, it's the opposite of ruthless. Ruth means compassion. So I'm going to play the song and show you the lyrics. I just need to share my screen to do that.
Between hold on and letting go, sweetness dances in the flow. It turns together and apart, transformed to living works of art. While freedom fights to stomp out truth, peace partners with inaction screws. Ongoing wars are dropping root. How can the dance be growing worse than dying to believe what is not true, and living dreams in hope we are not through. The call to act is drawing near, or face the loss of all that depths of fear. Please face the music now and really, between hold on and letting go. Sweetness dances in the flow. It turns together from apart, transformed to living works of art.
Beautiful. Simply beautiful. Thank you so much. What a beautiful share.
Thank you.
That must be a hard song to sing for you.
Yeah, actually, it sounds like I wrote it after my friend's niece passed away, but I wrote it before that, just about the idea of our kids not being vaccinated. Anyway.
Thank you so much. John Jackson.
Hi, I'm John Jackson, and excuse me, I wasn't going to say anything about school at all, except that it occurred to me that it is apropos to repeat this story. When I was in high school, a student, an alum, won a prestigious nationwide limerick contest. So as a celebration of this, the school had a school-wide limerick contest. I still don't think I had the best limericks, but I certainly had more of them than anyone else. And fast forward now to limericksofprotest.com. Some vaccine deniers now teach ivermectin keeps COVID out of reach. Although it's for horses, the reason, of course, is it's classier than shooting up bleach. Our trust in the balance of powers dropped along with the Twin Towers. National complacence has gone away since the world changed in just a few hours. 20th anniversary of 9/11. To flatten the curve we have tried, but too many selfish have lied, misleading the nation, but in our population, 1 in 500 has died. At DC MAGA rally this time, for trespassers now doing time. It's not hypocritical to say prisoners political. Insurrection is a political crime. So, change of topic. A friend of mine posted the first 2 limericks of what follows on Facebook and tagged me and said I had to finish it. Oh, all right. There once was a lion from Narnia who said to the witch, "Now gall darn a closeted wardrobe is just too claustrophobe, but lifting it gave me a hernia." All right, fine, we can continue along this. There once was a lion from Oz with fearsome teeth and sharp claws. When faced with unsavory, he would display bravery, but thought cowardice one of his flaws. I'm on a roll with this. This is great. I asked my wife, can you think of any other literary lions? And she said George Bernard Shaw. I don't think she understood what I was saying. In the jungle, a tiger named Khan told man cub Mowgli, "Be gone." But this wolf-raised stripling, drawn by Disney from Kipling, brandished fire and drove Shere Khan on. Okay, flammable felines, burning tigers. Where are we going to go with that idea? Once in Blake's Forest of Night was a tiger someone set alight. It may have had symmetry, but it sure seems to me it don't rhyme with I. That ain't right. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. There once was a family of bears. Goldilocks broke one of their chairs, and even more rude, ate some of their food. That's white privilege, if anyone cares. Thank you.
Yay! Literary big cats. I'm loving it.
Uh-huh.
Do you happen to know Rogers and Hart songwriters?
Maybe.
Well, it just
Which song?
oh, they've written millions of them. My Funny Valentine is my favorite one, but they do a lot of internal rhyming, and for some reason, your limericks are so good. They make me think of Rogers and Hart songs who were great with internal rhyming.
That's high praise indeed. Thank you.
Yeah, well, good job, and thanks for making us laugh. All right, Theresa Gleason, good to see you.
Hi, everybody. Theresa. I wasn't going to read any poems particularly pertaining to school, but hearing everyone else's stories made me think of my fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Pulfred, and I just adored her. And she, in particular, because she loved cats, and at the time she had two Siamese cats, and coincidentally, I now have two Siamese cats, and I am teaching. The other thing that she did for me was I was trying to write a poem, and I was rhyming, but in order to rhyme, I had to change the words to something that wasn't literally true. And she explained to me that that was poetic license. So I like to think that she gave me my poetic license all those years ago. I'm started a new book. So these poems I'm going to read, two poems that are brand new, still kind of in the revision process. So I'm a little nervous about them, but I figure this is a good way to, kind of get myself thinking out loud. So this one's called Chappaquiddick Beach for Patrick. August ended at Chappie, the tide hitting her high mark. We waded into chest-deep waves, the bottom all churned up. There is nothing to do now but take the plunge or get out. Flocks of terns and laughing gulls swoop and dive as the burnt orange sun sinks toward the end of another day. We watch for the green flash as it drops like an egg yolk beneath the horizon. Then watch as the underlit clouds pink up in whispers and whirls like the brushstrokes of the woman working watercolors, chasing the last light of the golden hour. We share a sandwich and munch wise chips, licking salt from our fingertips. You are leaving tomorrow for the West Coast before we've barely begun, with a promise of kisses to come. And this one is called Dead Man's Neck, and that's over in Mashpee. So the poems I'm working on, it's going to be sort of poetry of place. So I'm using all of these different places that are around here. We have so much beauty here. And there's also a reference in here to a poem by William Carlos Williams. So you'll hear his name mentioned. Dead Man's Neck. The sandy path I walk has been trod by fox, coyote, and humankind, hunting and gathering for centuries. A place so beautifully wild and largely unspoiled, where the salt-singed air ignites the senses. A pair of snowy owls sometimes winter here, with their yellow eyes and heads on a swivel. A man is bent over, plucking blue-black fruit from a low bush. What are you picking? I ask, but he doesn't seem to understand. So I hold up one between finger and thumb, bring it to my lips and say, eat. He searches for a word and says, plum. Ah, beach plums, thousands ripe for the picking. I put one in my mouth and bite into its orange flesh, chew the tart skin and spit out the pit. I remember the note of apology Williams left after he'd eaten the plums his wife was saving for dinner. He couldn't help himself, and neither can I. They taste good to me.
Yay. Wow. What my poetry group calls those kinds of poems fresh paint.
Yeah.
My dear, those were both so beautiful. I love, in the first one, I love that flocks of tern and laughing gulls and looking for the green flash. So beautiful. And I'm happy. Please continue writing about places. We are so blessed to have a lot of beauty around us.
We are.
Thank you, Theresa.
Thank you.
Lisa Cantor.
Hi, Donna. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I'm so happy to be back. I missed you all summer. My kids were around, but now they're back in school. So, school days. I can't help feeling that I'm late to class, that everyone else is already seated, absorbing the lessons, taking well-organized notes, learning from the new data that speckles their minds. I sense there's something I've forgotten to say, to do, to ask, to learn. Always an eager, earnest student, I have no explanation for my tardiness. No creature consumed my homework. No distant cousin suddenly fell ill. No document disappeared into the digital ether. But wait. Yes, so many things did happen every day. A mother grieved endlessly. A child ached and needed mending. A marriage brought children and then unwatered did not thrive. A sister cocooned herself away from the world. A brother suddenly left his life and poems behind. A father's brain bled and skated away in just the right way. This page written and turned, and then this one that followed next. A cascade of challenges, a parade of panic. Each unplanned event claiming its place, a jewel in the crown of my life. I've held each gem in turn and churned over its meaning, placement, and purpose. Somehow, though, this all seemed to happen in the anteroom, the green room, in the wings, in the barely waking, partly dreaming hours before the school bus arrived. When do I don my backpack, turn back and become the protagonist, finding her place on this proscenium and claiming what are undeniably her lines? This longing to speak, to ask, to know, it sits in my chest like it wants to cry, to beg forgiveness for arriving so late. Have I overslept? And what, God, what have I missed while I was setting these stones, while I compiled this tome of a life? Thank you.
Oh, Lisa, so beautiful. You have such a unique way of writing, like nothing else. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And now for a change of pace, we're going to unmute for Tom Padovano.
Thank you. School days. Now, I had some tough teachers, especially my gym teacher, Mr. Godzilla. I'll tell you how tough he was. During recess, when we played dodgeball, he drove the dodge. And I wasn't the class clown. I was the class idiot, always getting left back. Do you know any other kid in 3rd grade excused for jury duty? It was embarrassing. My teacher made my parents write on the blackboard 100 times, "We won't have more kids." I was a terrible student, especially in shop class. I made an ashtray out of balsam wood. Smokey the Bear punched me in the face. And then I made a leather wallet, which was sewn shut on all 4 sides. I had to scotch tape my money to the wallet. Oh, it was terrible. And you know what was worse? My neighbor hated school even more than me. Every day, his mother would say, "Johnny, you got to go to school." And Johnny would say, "But Mommy, I don't want to go to school." "Why not, Johnny?" "The teachers hate me. The kids hate me. Mommy, I don't want to go to school." She goes, "Listen, you're 47 and the principal. Go to school." And listen, I wasn't the most well-behaved kid. I'll admit that. You know, I was sent to the principal's office so often, they made a key for me and told me to lock up at the end of the day. Oh, it's terrible. And I always had like a wise answer for the teacher. Like she said to me, "Tom, where's your homework?" I said, "The dog ate it." She goes, "I don't believe that. I'm calling your mother." I go, "Don't bother. The dog ate my mother too." But you know what my favorite class in school was? First class. Yeah, I always liked first class. And even now, for a while, I went to a school to teach me how to become a pilot. Yeah, so they brought me to the Hindenburg Airport. And they gave me this pilot that just about finished his alcoholism problem. So he says to me, "Tom, why do you want to learn how to fly?" I go, "I want to soar among the clouds. I want to feel free in the air." He goes, "You want to meet women?" I said, "Bingo." So he said, "Are you ready?" I said, "Yeah." So I'm sitting in this seat, right? He said, "Tom, if you stop making that noise, you can start flying." Oh, the other day, I walked by a driving school and I saw this sign that said, "Learn to quickly learn how to drive. Take our crash course." That was a little scary for me, you know. But listen, teachers are important. You know, to me, it is so important to get an education. And I'm so proud of when I graduated, 30 years old from elementary school. It took a little while, but that's all right. So everybody, thank you for letting me perform. Good night.
Thank you, Tom.
Great. It was great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. And here we are at nearly the end. I'm going to finish off with a poem that is from my second teaching career, which was elementary school, kindergarten, integrated arts, and music. This shows some of my core beliefs about what children need, especially when they're very, very young. And it's called Postmodern Pygmalion. It's from a dream I had. A dream streams on the library lawn. Younglings float like pixies to the grass, chattering about the script of the day. Our inspiration, a marble fairy. The ancient tale, she awakens, discovers what it is to be fully human. I consider the casting. One 5-year-old will dance the lead, the enchanted statue. Every tiny hand shoots up. Me, oh please choose me. Entering kindergarten, their center of the universe status intact. In public school, they learn how to share, take turns, be patient. But in their hearts, they yearn for make-believe. Don't we all? Decision made. All of them are cast as a covey of statues, dancing together on the broad green lawn, shimmering, magical, transmuted marble to mortal, moving to an inner rhapsody only they can hear. All righty. Yay! You know this edited performance will be shown on FCTV's channel 13 as well as the YouTube channel. If you have any questions or comments, you can email Andrew at email@fctv.org. And those of you watching, if you would like to be a performer, please sign up for the next Poetic license, which will be on Thursday, October 28th. Ooh, almost Halloween. The suggested theme for October will be mischief. Yes, could be good mischief too. Thank you again, Andrew Richards. Performers, thank you for your honesty and your creative gifts. It is an honor to hear your voices. So until we meet again, fare thee well and shine on.